Welcome to the On Wax.
Smells so good over here.
Yeah, the lavender peace
It's so peaceful in this corner.
doTERRA. Shout out doTERRA.
Shout out
Sponsor us.
doTERRA. Yeah. Can we get a sponsor?
How many episodes do we need to get a sponsor? Maybe we can talk about that in this episode.
Maybe like a green tea sponsor. Maybe who else do we need? Some Shure SM7Bs.
Yeah,
Just in case.
custom
Like you could
ones.
have 2 at your house, I'll have 2 at my house.
I feel like we need some like white ones or something.
Some white ones.
I don't know,
Some
just
blinged up ones, like
Yeah.
gold or something.
something like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Welcome to episode 12 of Rainbows and Wax. My name is Alex.
And I'm Steve.
We're going to talk about social media.
The devil.
The most loved and hated thing of all musicians, I think, in the world. The necessary evil that is social media.
The tool at everyone's disposal.
Yeah, this conversation has come up so many times with so many different artists that I've worked with, whether they're in my label or just friends or,
Yeah.
I think there's so many aspects to it all. I'd say like record labels, again, like there's so much to unpack about social media. We all love it. We all use it. Probably most likely like it's Instagram and it's TikTok. I'd say Facebook a little bit as well. I mean, I still use Facebook, not just for Marketplace, but for, other things as well. I would say like it's just one of those things that you sort of have to be a part of. It's just something you can't really avoid.
It's discoverability.
Yeah.
It's marketing. It's community, if
Yeah.
you want it to be.
Yeah.
It's one of your most forward-facing forms of distribution.
The business card,
It's the business card.
the modern business card. I'll check out my Instagram.
It's communication.
Yeah. I still like do a lot of communicating through Instagram.
Yeah.
Like call people on it. I book shows through it. Like there's a lot that a professional, type communication that should be probably on email that just so much easier through social media.
It's all in one place.
Yeah.
And if you're having to like pay subscriptions for all of these other little systems, like why wouldn't you just learn to use this free thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'd say like, some interesting things about social media, for instance, now like, when we first started working with Warner Music, we had like some budget to make videos with. And since working with them, it's been a few years now, but I'd say it's maybe in the last year or two, that doesn't really exist anymore. They have a team of social media experts that they've employed at the label. And I'd say like anyone, like it doesn't matter how big or small you are, whether you work with the label or not, it's just an interesting thing that major labels have sort of moved away from long form video and into social media assistance for their artists.
Are there like necessities of, like, I know when TikTok blew up, the majors were pushing use of TikTok.
Yeah.
Are they still doing that as heavy?
Yeah, it's still the same, like TikTok and Instagram. I don't know if anyone like really has it kind of figured out. Like it's sort of just like about making content and having content up there. When I see, these sort of social media experts, like even just talking on TikTok or on Instagram, I saw a good example of this guy who probably you may have seen. I think it's on Instagram and on TikTok. But I believe what he does now, which is the viral thing, is he like plays piano in sort of interesting places like airports or like restaurants and things like that. And it kind of creates this like, oh, there's like a few cameras around. So it's obviously like staged because like Otherwise, how would you have like 3 or 4 cameras in an area? Getting people's reactions to, I guess, how good he is
Right.
at piano, whether it's in like a restaurant, and like I know that he's done some now where he's had like an opera singer or a specific kind of singer where he'll start playing this song, and then suddenly this singer kind of stands up from their meal and starts singing.
I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
But I think he'd been doing like a lot of.
That's like flash dance.
It is. It's kind of this like flash dance, flash mob sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he had been doing stuff like just playing piano in places, and it like wasn't like taking off. It wasn't going viral or anything. And it was like one particular video that was like, all right, this is the formula, because it went viral, and it was sort of, I guess, people's reactions to him playing. Maybe it was in an airport or something. I'm not sure. So then that was the model. So they kind of found what worked and continued it. Again, this is sort of somebody who is like, I guess, basing a career around social media. So it doesn't always apply to an artist, but in a way it does. We know even successful artists these days like Zach Bryan, who I guess have built a career from social media. I'm sure there's like plenty of other artists who have done that as well. You know, he was doing a lot of cover songs and just like putting himself up there, playing covers on TikTok and Instagram, and, you know, built this huge career out of it. There's, you know, artists that go live on TikTok and sort of sing and do sorts of things. Other bands even we know, like Hollow Coves, that again weren't like massively like on Instagram or TikTok, but the songs that they had released were being used for reels and things. Songs like Coastline, like whenever anyone was at the beach taking a little video of their family, they used a Hollow Coves song called Coastline, which, you know, did a lot of great things for their career. But again, even knowing those guys, like they were struggling to sell the size shows. Well, they weren't doing them, not that they were struggling to sell them, but, you know, they had millions and millions of streams, really, really famous on Instagram through the song, but they had a really smart team around them, helped them build to these amazing shows that they're doing now. So it wasn't just like a guaranteed, you've got millions of streams, people are using your song on a reel, that you're guaranteed to sell out a show. Like,
No.
it can actually work the opposite. Some people who sell really well at shows like aren't doing as well on Spotify or Instagram. But either way, I think it's like, you know, you need some kind of presence on social media, and you want sort of a healthy relationship with what that is.
Exactly. It can become your voice. Like, even though you're using, you know, music is a voice in the essence, but for that realness that people seek in their favorite artist, like they want to see what you're having for breakfast. They want to see where you hang out. They want to see what you're wearing, because they want to connect in some way and relate in some way. So now that's social media, you know?
Yeah. I think too, like, people who want to avoid social media, you know, your songwriting and your production would have to be at just such a massive standard for you to kind of supersede needing social media. Which again, I don't discount or discredit like anyone who's like wanting to go down that pathway. There's definitely artists that do it. There's plenty of artists that don't engage with social media and are still really successful. It can be done. It's probably just a little bit harder because you're not, you know, they're using whatever other channels they have to get feedback on their music, feedback about their songs and their production, things like that, rather than using social media and going, all right, here's the song that I'm working on. What do you think? You know, and again, you can use really small statistics to figure it out. Like you might post a song and 10 people like it, and then suddenly you post one and 100 people like it. There's 10 times more people that like that song over that one. So it's a really good indication.
I think it's just
It's a better song.
like you said, it's a real time feedback.
Yeah.
And I love using social media as a tool for my business, and I use Instagram every single day. I don't use TikTok. Like I tried it out. The short form stuff was like, it's all kind of short form, but like the discoverability of TikTok was just a little too beyond me. Whereas Instagram, I can really, because I'm very visual with
Yep.
my music and my art and everything, so I like to even use my Instagram feed as a bit of a canvas to paint on in
Yeah.
that sense. So, you know, I was in the studio last week with Chucho, and we were tracking a live, like we were doing a live video,
Yeah.
and we went on Instagram Live, and having people show up throughout the day was
Yeah.
sick. Like, it was like that. Oh, you use take 4 or use take 6. We're like, nah, we're gonna use take 8. you know,
Yeah.
like, and it was sick to have people there through the day, and they were able to watch the process and see
Yeah.
the setup and ask questions and even join in on the chat. And
Yeah.
like, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Like, in that sense.
It's an epic tool. I'd say I chatted to some people about social media. TikTok is actually meant to be easier.
Yeah.
So who's beeping out?
Have you got a parcel?
I don't know. Oh.
To be continued.
Hello?
Hello. Coming. 1 second. He's on the side here. We have the postman here, ladies and gentlemen. Someone's been online shopping. Thanks, mate. What'd you get?
I don't know, but it's for my wife.
Yep.
Well,
Thank
normally
you.
They just leave it at the door, right?
Yeah, thanks, Australian Postal Service. You're too good.
Yeah, he was really insistent on me
Yeah.
signing for it. Anyway, my wife will be happy because I guess you have to sign for it if
Yeah.
you want it delivered.
We're not editing that out, by the way.
No. So what I was saying is like, yeah, I was chatting to a friend of mine about social media, about TikTok and Instagram. And she always suggested like you kind of use TikTok to almost test out the viability
Mm-hmm.
of videos and things before taking them over to Instagram, because TikTok, I don't know if it's still the same or if this is like old news,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no barrier to what can be seen on TikTok. Like it is just shared,
Right.
and it kind of has its own ways and algorithms, I guess, of going viral. Whereas Instagram can be like limiting to your friendship group and who's following you.
Well, they used to be the case.
Yeah.
Now I know, like, this year especially, Instagram has updated their algorithm to be far more competitive with TikTok in that sense. So
Yeah,
they're
makes
gonna
sense.
they're gonna totally favor the original content now.
Yeah.
So if you're sharing other people's stuff, Instagram won't favor that as much. Like, I do it every day. I'll go find a song in my feed and I'll put it out there because I just love starting my day like that.
Yeah.
I used to do 3 tracks a day,
Yeah.
and you could see the decline in views like straight away, because like, especially coming into this year of it,
Because it wasn't original content.
because it wasn't my original content.
Yeah.
So I started doing 1 a day, which was like just a fun habit for me.
Yeah.
It kind of just like, it allows me to hear music first thing in the morning. But yeah, so I've just started to do a lot more original content, and I noticed that all my original stories, my original posts, like it's doing well, like
Yeah.
exponentially well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So-
good to know that that sort of started to change a bit.
Yeah. They are trying to favor the creators,
Yeah.
you know, not just the fan bases, like
Yeah.
more the creators. They're giving back to the creators in that sense, getting the right eyes onto the content.
Yeah. I know, like, there's probably a lot of things about social media that, you know, whether we're not experts on social media necessarily. I see a lot of people and how they can generate money through social media and things like that. But I don't think that is what, you know, this talk is meant to be about. It's more about just how you use it, like, and how you want to use it and how you interact with it. And for me, the easiest thing is like, if it's a struggle, like if it is like, oh, like I don't know what to do, like I'm not sure what to post, anything is definitely better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of starting with like just literally anything.
Mm-hmm. A
How clever.
selfie of you doing the thing, like playing guitar or writing, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
showing
exactly.
off your process.
Yeah. And your life, you
Yeah.
know, like your things that make you unique and like where you go and what you're doing. Like it's probably sometimes more interesting, you know, than it's definitely more interesting than trying to promote a product.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to sell a product, trying to sell yourself through social media is maybe one of the worst things you can do.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No.
It's not good. It doesn't feel nice. It feels kind of
No.
yucky to sort of be like, oh, can you like pre-save my song?
Yeah. I've tried all this.
It just doesn't work.
It
only
feels
really
weird.
works for like major artists that have a huge
Yeah.
audience
Yeah.
already. They're really the only things that are kind of moving that dial. If you already have like, you know, a couple 100,000 followers,
Mm-hmm.
if you're just got 1,000 or like say, I don't know, under 10 or under 20,000 followers, I'd say it's much better just to kind of talk to your audience and communicate with them in a way that feels comfortable. And that could just be, yeah, like a photo,
Mm-hmm.
sharing your favorite music,
Mhm.
stuff that you're listening to, stuff that inspires you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are willing to kind of get on and like, yeah, do lives or talk to people, like definitely cool, like go ahead and do that. But I would
Mhm.
say like, certainly don't do it to sell
No.
your music or try and encourage people to go and stream your music. I'd say just use it as a diary.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, I know that's how kind of Instagram started. It was like this photo diary
Yeah.
where you just sort of took pictures and posted it and a little caption underneath and,
Mhm.
you know, you're good to go. And, you know, I think even like, yeah, going researching hashtags and that sort of thing to use. Like, I don't know if it's going to move the dial more than just working on good music will.
It can expand the reach, but like you said, it doesn't move the dial.
No.
As you want it to. Like
Yeah.
you might get some scammers.
Yeah, you'll definitely get scammed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
But-
plenty of those people out there that'll love to come and be like, oh, I'll promote your stuff. And
Yeah,
like,
I'll promote your stuff for this
Yeah.
amount of money
Yeah,
and you'll
sign
get
up
this
to
many
this and-
streams and there's all the fake websites and
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought this good example was this girl I saw, whether I saw her before these other people did or not, or because of them. But anyway, her name was Nolene Hoffman from Canada. And just, she'd put up a few things and nothing had gone sort of semi-viral like this song, but it's just basically her that she put the camera up, you know, kind of over here and she's filming herself singing this song with the lyrics up there. Great song. And anyway, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I messaged her. I was like, oh, what an incredible song. Thank you so much. Like, love to help you put a song out there in the world if you need a hand with it.
Mhm.
Anyway, turns out Zach Bryan and all these other people had heard it as well. And that song is now released with Zach Bryan.
Right.
You know, they've done a duet and it's out. It's called Purple Gas. But it's not recorded properly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not particularly like, I don't know, it's a nice angle. Like she's just sat there with a cowboy hat on, it's a country song. I wouldn't say it's like anything kind of like typical Instagram. It's just fairly straightforward. It's got the lyrics there, which are nice.
Mm-hmm.
But that song was just so good that people heard it and were like, wow, this is an incredible song,
Mm-hmm.
because it is. And she got all the help that she needed. Now she's touring America, Canada, constantly doing shows. She's toured with Charlie Crockett. She's touring with Colter Wall.
Mm.
You know, she's done songs with Zach Bryan, like really killing it out there in the world. And at the time that I was talking to her, yeah, she was just studying in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You know, had no team, nothing. Just
So-
wrote a good song and put it online.
That's a great example of how content gets favored, right?
Mm.
So if you're an artist, sing and look at the camera, like sing to the audience,
Yeah.
you know, like it's a mini stage or like you're busking. Whereas if you're go the opposite direction and you put a whole bunch of budget into a studio and you try and create this atmosphere, like it doesn't hit the same way as that realness.
Yeah.
And that's it goes to it's the same in the fashion industry. Like
Yeah.
I've mentioned before with Ainsley Hutchins, like they'll go and invest a whole bunch into models to promote, like to wear their clothes, and they'll hire a studio and they'll shoot them like super high quality. And that content does not do as well as Ainsley just standing in front of the camera talking about the clothes.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff goes miles further.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same for the music. So I think both kinds of content have their place. Like, definitely go make a music video if you want to make a music video. And you know, make it steezy, make it cool. Like, use a studio, use lighting, like, do all the things. But don't neglect the whole realness and just looking at that camera and getting those bedroom kind of recordings, because it's a very cost-effective way to expand your reach, and
I'd say that
so doable.
Most people who kind of go viral in those senses, or like find even if it's not viral, if it's just sort of like you get some attention, I doubt most of them know that it's going to happen. They're just sort of out there doing their best, writing their music, sharing it in a way that seems appropriate.
It's always a risk. No matter what.
But, you know, for me, it's like, it's not that hard, especially if you're like, I mean, really anything, like if you're a band, you know, obviously it can be a bit trickier because it's like louder and you know, there's more people to kind of manage. But if you're a solo artist and you play guitar or piano as your main instrument, you know, it's not that hard to just kind of set up a camera and just film it and have a good crack at it and just keep working on it and refining it as you move through. I guess another one that, you know, these sort of media experts help us with a bit is kind of getting a bit of a blueprint or like a timeline of ideas. So like we were talking about last time with the ideas for a rainy day for songwriting, it's like the same thing for social media. I'm sure there's stuff out there that you could go and find, or you could use ChatGPT and things like that. Hey, can you create me a social media plan for an artist that plays this kind of music? You know, and it might sort of go, all right, do, you know, 3 or 4 reels a week, and a few posts here and there. Always promote your gigs that you're doing.
You can recycle your content too. Like, you don't go and spend all this time creating a really cool piece of art and not put it out there multiple times. Like, it's the same with your music. You've got to just keep pushing it. So, you know, if you've got, like when you put up a post in Instagram, you get carousels. So one thing I do a lot is I'll break up an album artwork over the 9 tiles. And behind each of those, I'm putting like imagery or video content that's just part of my life, part of my vision, or part of my process, whatever it might be. I'm just like spilling it in there, because the longer, you know, all of these platforms want people to just spend time on them. So the more time you give that audience to just be digging through your stuff, the better. So I think
if they sparked by something that they see, they'll generally, I do it, like, you know, if I see someone on a reel
flick,
you know, it's like, oh, I'll check what else have they got, you know,
exactly,
like what other songs are in there.
When you're putting music out, so say if you're just like, if you've released a song, it's on Spotify, and then you're doing you're at your show and you get that selfie of you at the show, put your music to it. Use your music, like just keep linking people to the music, show them different parts of the song. Like, it's so easy to just keep pushing it without being that salesy kind of person, you know? So all the tools are in the platforms.
100%. You can go as crazy as you need to, or it can be as simple as you need. Like, it doesn't need to be overthought. I'd say most people would probably have the lyrics to their songs like in the notes anyway. Just copy and paste them in. You know, so people can kind of read along. It's sort of a nice way of interacting with the song. If like you know, if the recording is just an iPhone recording, it might not be you know, super good quality on vocal, or it could be a bit windy if you're outside or something, so they can read the lyrics and really hear what's happening. But yeah, I would say like it's about that kind of healthy relationship to it, the consistency with it. Always spend more time working on your music, working on your songwriting, working on your singing, working on your playing, because that ultimately is going to be what people see and hear and like. You know, when it does come time to video something. So if you're just spending all your time on social media and not really improving the quality of what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you're just not going to see
Yeah.
a result.
Yeah.
I know, again, like this might be an old thing, but yeah, kids were posting stuff on TikTok, and if it wasn't like getting a certain amount of views, they'd like take it down and put it back up again, and take it down and put it back up again.
All right.
I don't know if that's still a thing with TikTok, and kind of like trying to force these algorithms and things. If you're not sort of seeing a result, or you haven't posted at the right time, of day for your audience, things like
Okay.
that. That can sort of be a little bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, just have a little look online, like, see what people are talking about, go and do a bit of your own research on like
Mm-hmm.
how social media best works. And then, set yourself a little diary and just kind of make it a part of your routine.
Yeah.
As you say, like, you wake up in the morning and you do your couple little things, like straight up. It's probably just easy to do that rather than kind of like midway through the day being like, oh, like.
And it's not there's a fine line of good and bad habit there, for sure. Like, I'll try and do it for that. I don't do it as soon as I wake up. Like, I don't look at my phone as soon as I wake up. I wait 40 minutes, an hour. Like, I'll make coffee, and when the coffee pot's boiling, I'll get on there and I'll start doing all my stuff.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm just trying to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So any other content that becomes beyond that, it's like other people are sharing it and I'll repost it. Or I'm in the studio, so I'm doing the live stuff, or I'm with a client, so we'll get videos together, and then that's all coming later. So I don't get bogged down with all the other stuff. And one thing that has helped my social media habit was every morning I'll find a track, like I'll find a song that inspires me or is inspiring for the day with my client or something. Like, I'll try and tie it to the stage I'm in that day. That's trained the algorithm. So
It knows.
well, I don't see, like, I only see music
Yeah.
or art or like fashion, because they're the things that I have trained. Like, because if you're there looking at girls all day, or if you're looking at fast cars, or people do like crazy cat videos, or you're gonna get all of that crap at you, right?
That's right.
So
I'm very used to that.
Yeah, right. All the crazy cat
all
videos,
the dodgy reels that are shared.
people doing
between me and friends.
burnouts, or
Just like, obnoxious reels of comedy.
right. So I've trained my algorithm to give me what I'm trying to give back out there.
Yeah.
And it just takes less time to seek stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I think too, like, if you are a bit like me and you share stupid meme reels and like dumb stuff, obviously my algorithm is kind of tuned to that. But there is music in there as well. That often comes up. But don't be like discouraged by that if you are a musician who wants to look at all this dumb shit. Like, I'm all for it.
It can be detaching. It can be good, like,
but don't think
entertaining.
you need to be like that.
No.
Because like the people who are like consuming music and wanting to look at music, like, they're seeing a lot of amazing, cool music stuff up there all the time. So don't think like, oh, I need to make the quirky, viral, silly video.
100%.
Like, it's not really the case. Like, I love seeing music online. I often reach out to artists that way as well. It has nothing to do with how many followers they have or how many views it had. It is just to do with the quality of the song. I've reached out to heaps of people and have made friendships from Instagram and connected people online to be like, hey, like, I work for a record label. Like, this is a great song. Like, I'm not talking about signing them, but I think they're great. And I say, oh, who you working with? Like, have you had any help? Oh, no, like, I'm on my own, like, I've just been doing this at home. Young people. And then I go, well, where do you live? Oh, well, I live here. Oh, cool. I know this person. You should catch up and like write a song together. If you need help, give me a call. Here's my number. Again, it's not about like signing everything. It's about just assisting people on their journeys. And like, again, like, that could be you out there listening to this and having no help at all. you know, that could just be, you connect with an industry person or, there's a lot of bloody sharks out there. I keep hearing more and more about all these dodgy ass people.
I've had some of my greatest collaborations come through social media.
Yeah.
And I still haven't met half these people, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you never even met them in the flesh. And
Yeah. Like Twitter I'm on. I was spending a lot of time on Twitter through COVID because it was a really good way to get into a chat room and talk with a community of people real time. So you're hearing voices and you're getting instant feedback. And I got into a bunch of communities that you could submit music to. So it was like live radio, and you could submit beats or submit projects, and people would listen. Everyone, you know, if they were enjoying it, they'd throw emojis at you, and you get instant feedback, and then they talk about the songs after. And Twitter was a really good voice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say it's my favorite platform. Like, I'm very visual. Twitter's much more short form writing kind of content, but their chat room, like Instagram's got Instagram Live and stuff like that now, which is a similar thing. It's more video based, but being able to open one of those Twitter spaces and get into a room with like 100 other people, all there for hip hop or all there for electronic music, like that was such a good networking experience.
Yeah.
And like I met Latasha there, I met Brenna, like all of these people I'm collaborating with still, and that's been years down the track, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it was in the time of when NFTs were rising a lot, so it was a bit of a sales kind of scheme for me, like not scheme, but like a bit of a strategy to get in front of people that were purchasing these things, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I'd release music on an NFT platform before I'd release it on Spotify, and I'd go and showcase it, and I might get 20, 30 sales out of that.
Yeah.
And that's instant. That's real money, like US dollars, you know. Before I would go and try and collect on streaming, which would take me 4 years to get that same payment.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So I think like Twitter Spaces, you know, is really good. And I think Instagram's already caught up with it, trying to do it better with their live streaming and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily the same thing, because I think people get on Twitter for that that information around the topic more so than Instagram being like a fan base following somebody.
Yeah.
So you'd learn so much off Twitter about Web3, for example. Or NFTs, or a new music platform that was pushing NFTs.
Yeah.
Whereas Instagram, it's like, no, you're kind of limited to your followers.
Yeah.
If you go Instagram Live, only your followers will see you go live.
Yeah.
Whereas Twitter was way more public. Like, it didn't matter who was in the room. Like, you could get in that room.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't really use Twitter, or X, I guess.
Yeah, X, sorry. Yeah, we're in 2024.
I use Reddit, but not for like music, really. There's not a massive sort of music community on there. There used to be, but...
I think another one is Campfire.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
Which is like more live space, chat rooms, that sort of thing. But just go where the vibration is, you know? Like if you're building on Instagram and that's where majority of your fan base is, just keep following that path. Like if you're on TikTok, that's where you're seeing all your results, keep following that path. Like you don't have to be everywhere. Like just keep doing what's working.
Yeah. I'd say if you're going to sell anything on Instagram, merchandise is probably the one. Like, I know it's like the pre-saves, listen to my music. Like, maybe it's going to move the dial, maybe it's not. You're not going to necessarily make much money out of it anyway.
Unless you got like 100,000 followers, like, it doesn't work.
But, you know, you could have 1,000 people or a few thousand people. And if you're like, hey, guys, like, you know, stream my music if you want to, but, like, I'd really appreciate it if you could, like, buy this T-shirt. You know, if you got people that are interested in you and like you and want to support you, and it's a reasonably priced t-shirt, you'll probably sell them all out. And you actually make some real coin out of it. You don't have to be some crazy salesman. You can do it through all sorts of different methods of, there's websites that'll kind of print to order, so you're not having to like do upfront money for it. There's lots of great ways to sell merchandise, whether it's pins or buttons and stickers, things like that really can help you, on your journey.
We need to do a podcast on merchandise. I
100%.
love merchandise.
We'll do a whole run on merchandise for sure, but I just say in relation to social media, like try those things that you may not have tried yet. So you might be out there flogging away your music and people are like, oh, this is cool. It's cool. Another song. But they're like, I really want to buy a t-shirt because I love your style, or I just want something with your name on it or your band's name on it. If you've never tried it, like you could be like really limiting yourself and going like, oh, actually the whole point of social media for me as an artist is just to sell my merch. People can figure out how to stream it. They can figure out how to come to shows other ways. Like they're not engaging with me that way, but you could be this amazing artist that has this amazing merch line. And that is your business. You can make your music and keep people happy with what they're listening to. And then they're really interested, for whatever reason it is, to buy your hats or shirts or whatever it is. But you won't know that until you give it a crack, or at least ask people,
And there's a lot of, like, in saying that too, like we were talking about earlier about all of these mechanisms that come with social media. Like many major businesses will have an emailing list.
Yeah.
Right? Instagram's got a community forum now. So they call it channel.
Yeah.
Community channels. So
Yeah.
that's a mailing list, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like you steer people into there. They're agreeing for more content from you. So you have a good merch line, you can offer it to this community first because they're your mailing list.
Yeah.
You can give them that 15% off, whereas no one else gets that.
Yeah.
I'm trialing all this stuff at the moment, and it's great. Like,
yeah, channels are good. I have a bunch of my mates who are musos. I'm on their channel, and it never really bothers me
no,
because it's not like this crazy sort of thing that is like people always communicating.
no,
It's generally just the artists, like once a week or whenever they're doing it, like, hey, we got this show coming up, or we're doing like a version, or we got our song playing on Triple J, can you call in and support it, or here's the next run of tours like coming up, discount codes, whatever it could be.
it's another really easy way to get instant feedback.
Yeah.
So
Like, dislikes, things like that.
give me a purple heart emoji if you're into this, or give me a blue heart emoji if you're into this.
Yeah.
Like, give them an A and B.
Yeah,
or-
which t-shirt design should we release?
so easy.
All those sorts of things are great. And again, too, like, these are things you could have with like 50 people, 100 people. Ideally, I'd say like 1,000 if you could sort of aim to hit 1,000 people in your channel. That's a great little cross-section of fans who are, still keen to be a part of getting updates from you.
That's the 1,000 true fans, right?
That's it. They buy everything,
Yeah.
So, again, it's like get to that 1,000. Maybe you only need to get to 5,000 and, a quarter of, or whatever it is, a fifth who actually do buy everything, then you're well on your way to like being a sustainable artist and getting to just do exactly what you want to do, because that's ideally what we want. I know there's artists out there who like totally happy with social media and that is their whole game, and that's fine. But if you're like wanting to be a pure artist and just write music and live your life and not have to go to a normal job, you've got to be selling merch, streaming, doing shows.
Yeah.
One of the three.
Yeah.
Or hopefully all of the three.
Yeah.
To make a sustainable income.
And there's a bunch of platforms. Like, it doesn't just stop at Instagram, X, and TikTok. Like, there's YouTube, which has now adopted the short form content.
Yeah.
There's Discord, which is far more in-depth community-based channel system.
Yeah.
Like, Discord was created for gamers, so they could go and share.
Discord. Yeah.
Use Discord.
Yeah.
I had a Discord for a while.
Only for gaming though. It's like it's great because you can all talk.
Yeah, you can have video chats and stream
It's a great
each
way
other
of, like,
and
chatting to
share
people.
screens and all that kind of stuff. they have a lot of room for posting other content. So it's quite a large, how do you say, like it can consume a lot of content. Like if you're posting to a channel, like huge links and videos, like it'll handle all that.
Twitch is, I guess, another one that
Twitch is another one.
use, like live streaming their studio sessions through Twitch.
Yeah. I was a fan of Kenny Beats, his Twitch channel, where he would just get on there and basically have like a beats community, and all these producers, they would just submit beats to each other, and he would give the feedback, from his kind of professional perspective. Yeah,
T-Pain, I think, was doing it there for a while. Because he was a gamer as well. So I think a lot of those like musos who are gamers, it kind of crosses over.
Yeah.
They're used to these platforms like Twitch and Discord.
K-Tronada does one.
Yeah.
But they're all subscription based as well.
That's right. Like Patreon, which is another one as well.
Yeah.
Like a lot of artists do use Patreon.
Yeah.
Where you subscribe, whatever it is, 5, 10, 20, sky's the limit, monthly subscription, and the artist gives you things, access to things, merchandise, stuff like that.
So X, Instagram, and TikTok are the free ones. They're the most accessible for any kind of artist at any level. Like, I think that's where your widest audience will be, and it's just a matter of, like you said before, being consistent, finding a consistency that just suits you. It's going to take some experimentation. Like me, it took me, like, I've had Instagram for a decade probably. And it's only in the last few years I've just started putting music out every day, and like feeling that reciprocation of more music fans getting drawn to me. So finding ways of consistency that just suit you and your persona and your hobbies and your interests and all that sort of thing, whether it be crazy cat videos and that's how you relate to a fan base.
Oh yeah. I wish I could do all that stuff. No, I'm just a straight up consumer of that. I never really engaged much with social media until recently. My big one was, I thought, like, I don't know, I didn't want to, I guess, like, I thought like what I was doing was really interesting, and I didn't want to like rub it in people's faces and being like, oh, like I'm in the hills writing music with Maddie for months at a time.
Oh man, as a fan, I would love to have seen that.
I know,
content.
He didn't use it either. I actually have, like, I do like recording stuff, so like I have home videos of all the experiences. My wife just constantly calling me. I think we're gonna...
She's probably trying to see if her parcel's here.
Maybe, but yes, sorry.
Do you think you're going to put that content out?
I think one day, I'll collate it all into something cool and maybe drip it onto social media so people can actually have a look at it.
You know what would have been really cool? Like, this is a bit like it's not along with the times. Like, if you knew sooner on how to steer this direction, it would be easier. But the people that bought those first vinyls, you could exclusively give them the content.
Yeah.
Like, setting up exclusive things like that is how you keep fans. It's how you have those 1,000 true fans.
That's right.
Using like a channel system, like on Instagram channels, like that.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to keep giving back into those fans that were there from the start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Something is better than nothing.
Something's better than nothing. And the tools are there and they're free, and you don't need a full team to start.
Yeah.
So get into it.
And then tune in next week for another episode of Rainbows on Wax.
Thanks, guys.
Rainbows.